There was a moment captured not on camera, but in a confidential note that revealed the most dangerous fault line in the Western alliance. Emmanuel Macron told Volodymyr Zelenskyy that the United States might betray Ukraine on territory. Not perhaps, not maybe, there's a chance, and that warning carried the weight of history. Germany's Friedrich Merz went further. Be careful, he told Zelenskyy, they're playing games with you and with us. The implication was brutal. Washington has begun to treat Ukraine not as a partner in its own liberation, but as a bargaining chip in a power deal with the Kremlin. What has this triggered, and what has triggered this alarm? A 28-point peace proposal produced by President Trump's envoys, a plan hammered out in Geneva and Florida without European or Ukrainian involvement, a plan that mirrors Moscow's demands almost point for point. Ukraine would freeze its NATO hopes, Russia would retain its conquest, Crimea goes forever, Donetsk and Luhansk remain carved away, Ukraine's army would be shackled, and all this is presented as peace. This is not peace. This is amputation, it is humiliation of a sovereign nation dressed up as diplomacy. Yet it is Ukraine that has endured the siege of Bakhmut and the destruction of Mariupol. It is Ukraine that has buried its children under the rubble of schools and hospitals, and now Ukraine is expected to hand over the very territories that have soaked the soil with its sacrifice. European leaders are clear. An imposed peace would not end the war, it would merely formalize injustice and invite the next act of aggression. Because a Russia rewarded as a Russia encouraged, a defeated Ukraine would destabilize the entire European security order. The Baltics would sleep more nervously. Poland would prepare for the worst. The signal to dictators everywhere would be unmistakable: force works. That is why even Mark Rutte, usually diplomatic in public, reportedly insisted that Europe must protect Zelenskyy, because the real risk today is not only Russian invasion, it's Western fatigue. It's a superpower tempted by a quick deal rather than a just deal. Zelenskyy now stands in the most treacherous landscape of all, the negotiation table. The battlefield demands courage, negotiation demands vigilance against betrayal. He must weigh the price of continuing war against the price of accepting a poisoned peace. And Europe has a choice too. It can surrender its principles to American impatience, or it can assert that the future of our continent must not be written in Moscow and Washington alone. If Ukraine is abandoned, it is not merely a diplomatic error, it's a moral failure. It's the abandonment of the post-war promise that borders cannot be changed by force. Macron's warning is a call to clarity. It said, remember who started this war, remember who is dying in it, remember that freedom means nothing if it is negotiable. 5 hours at the Kremlin told us everything we already knew. Putin will give nothing. He waits for diversion. He feeds on compromise. The road to peace runs not through Kyiv making concessions, but through Russia ending its aggression. For Russia getting tired, for the Russian people rising up and saying enough is enough. So Europe must resolve now. Support Ukraine fully, resist every attempt to exchange territory for temporary calm, and stand by a simple procedure. Security built on betrayal is not security at all.